Hi everybody, in this video we're going to start actually using modules, and there's a bit of stuff that we have to do to actually declare JavaScript modules natively, and this is just really to be sort of an intro because later on we're going to learn about Node and build systems to actually kind of handle some of these finicky details for us. But for now, I want to show you how to do stuff natively because this is possible to do in native HTML web development, JavaScript development. So the first thing we're going to do is just kind of clean up our stuff a little bit here. So I'll get rid of the iffy I declared as a example. Bring everything back to that first line, and I'm going to delete this second file here, and we'll get rid of it here. Okay. So we have a script, and what we're going to do is turn this into a JavaScript module. And so the way that we do this, very simple. We have to do type equals module to let the browser know, hey, this thing is a JavaScript module. However, this will end up breaking our code. So we have access to script blocked by CORS policy. Error failed. The reason being is that JavaScript modules natively, and that's what we're doing, a native JavaScript module, can only be done over a HTTP request. It can't be accessed through just our file system here. So I'm going to show you a tool that can help you make this work really easily. It's called Live Server, and I already have it installed. It's here, but for you, you can go to extensions and type Live Server, and this one's it. I think this is the one I've got installed. So launch a development local server with live reload for static and dynamic blah blah blah. You can install it here. You can go online, Google Live Server, VS Code, either will work. And once you have it, you basically get this little icon here that says go live, and when you click it, it's going to start a port and actually run your HTML on like a little file server, not a file server, like an actual web server. And so you can see here now, instead of how it was before where we had it served as a file and then it's got my whole file path here, it's actually being served on this, which is localhost 5500. And we'll talk about localhost development in another lecture, but it's a little server. It's running on this port and it's serving my file. And if we open it up, our code now works again. So this is in the reading too. You cannot use native JavaScript modules without being on a server. And you get some advantages here. One of the big advantages is that as you are developing, so let's say I wanted to kind of clean this up a little bit. Clean these up. As I save, so I'm going to save the file. I don't have to refresh. And you might think, well, that's not super cool. I think it's actually super duper cool. Saves you that little refresh, and it's nice to see immediate output, and that way you know that like what you're actually running is what you're running and not, oh, I need a refresh first. So live server is pretty cool. Now let's actually make a JavaScript module here. So we've already got the script, and here's where JavaScript modules are pretty cool to use. So I'm going to make a new file. I'm going to call it utils.js. This is a common pattern. The way that your code should read is it should read just only what it needs. So think of like a book. You can have a lot of extraneous details that kind of pollute the plot if it's not relevant to the story. And what I mean by that is here. So let's do utils.js. So developer working might read this and say, well, why do I have the function definitions in the same file? Because I don't really care to see the function definitions. I more just care about using them. Very good point. So let's, in the next video, I'll show you how we can actually use these, put these function definitions in a utils file and just make the main file a lot more crisp, easier to read. And I know it's not a ton of code, so it doesn't make much difference, but in a big project, it makes a lot of difference. So see you in the next lecture.